Okay, video here of Joe Rogan explaining how he's learned to like Donald Trump. I think Joe's a little bit late to the party here of basically understanding Trump's, I think, best attribute. I'm not making this to attack Joe Rogan or anything. It's just interesting how I think Joe Rogan now does have the correct take on why Donald Trump is successful as a politician.
The quote about Trump, or the narrative about Trump, has always been that he's bullshitting everybody, that he's a con man. He's definitely very persuasive. You know, Scott Adams has wrote about this pretty much in depth about how well Trump practices the art of persuasion. You know, the art of the deal. He's great at making people his friend and making relationships. And if you're his enemy, fuck you, scorched earth. You know, it's like this. And there's fear of that. You don't want to get on his bad side. There's all this, like, there's this art of, like, how he negotiates, and it's gone through this years and years and years of business. But that's him. That's the guy's right there. You could talk to him about everything and anything. He's right there. He's not protecting any of his ideas. He called a girl he allegedly slept with horseface when he was the president on Twitter.
It's so funny.
It's the wildest shit. So you're getting what you get. That's who the guy is, and you love. I like him. I've grown to like him. I had a much more negative opinion of him back in the day because it was. There's only so much you can pay attention to and do deep dives on.
Right.
So it's a good point for Joe Rogan. Like in 2016, if you weren't paying attention to politics, you probably should have believed the media that Trump says all these wild things.
Before you lose your fucking mind. And with him, I was always like, oh, that guy, the grab him by the pussy guy, like, it's probably not good for the country. That seems crazy. But as time went on, I was like, oh, you need a guy that is completely crazy to expose how corrupt the whole system is.
Yeah.
And
So that's the point, I think. That's the main point. And I think people that if you followed politics quite a bit, I think you could understand that, but it did take a few months of being really piped in to politics to realize that someone like Jeb Bush, someone like your friendly, risk-averse accountant that you know that, like, just whatever, doesn't take many risks in life, that's not going to be a person to go to Washington and want to reform the system. Or just like a career politician like a Kamala or Hillary Clinton. It's going to have to be someone with a massive personality who, like Trump, already has this massive following. Basically someone like an Elon Musk with the big personality and who's willing to offend, willing to have some percentage of the population that just totally dislikes him. I mean, Elon Musk was not born in America, so it can't be him. It has to be somebody like Donald Trump. It's not going to work in the absence of someone that's a little bit brash and a little bit bold. Donald Trump probably, like some people would argue, he pushes it too far with his rhetoric. And a lot of times, like, for example, he attacked Joe Rogan earlier this year. I don't know if everyone thought that was necessary, or his like tweet about Taylor Swift. Donald Trump's very rough around the edges in a lot of those ways, but I do think his main positive attribute is that he's just so willing to constantly push for what he thinks, even in the face of just criticism from, at times, almost the entire world, or at least it would seem like that to Donald Trump, but he just goes, no, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing what I want to do here. That is incredibly rare. There might be 10 people on earth that would do that. Probably less, to be honest. It literally might just be Elon and Donald Trump right now. There's just such a rare quality of enough stardom for people to know you, and then just be willing to just constantly deal with criticism all day long. Again, the person that is going to reform the government, it's not going to be the risk-averse dude who's a good guy, but they're not going to want to do and put up with all the stuff that Trump puts up with all the time.
how they all collude together, and how they all say this. There's all these montages of clips of news organizations saying the same narrative outright, over and over, verbatim, word by word. They're getting fed this by someone, some entity, they're somehow or another they're collaborating, and they're all,
which is crazy. Those montages of them like just saying it sentence by sentence, word by word, and then there's also just. It looks like they're getting talking points all the time, like with Biden, sharp as a tack. And you can go over so many things, Russia, etc.
Choosing this very specific narrative, and they're running with it, and they're trying to destroy people with it. And I saw them do it with me.
Yeah.
I saw them do it with me during the COVID thing. And it was all motivated by the pharmaceutical drug companies and the profits. And they were terrified that someone's going to come along and somehow or another put a notch in this little thing that they've created. which is a devious little thing that they've done, where they eliminated all sorts of other remedies. They cut out all these generic drugs that possibly could have been used to help people. They denied people the use of monoclonal antibodies. They pushed the fucking shit out of this one thing so they could make money off of it. And they did it in collusion with the media. No one acted like a journalist. No one looked at the excess deaths.
Yeah, and it's not just COVID. You need a guy like Trump to go in there to shake this up.
No one looked at the instances of myocarditis in young people. No one looked at any of that. There was no journalism. It just showed everyone that the whole system is bought and paid for. It's all corrupt. And the only way you could find out who a person really is to listen to them talk for long periods of time.
Yeah, so I agree with Joe Rogan's take there about Donald Trump, just about how, again, like Joe Rogan's probably late to understanding the value of a Donald Trump, but at least he did. And I've also made this point before. I'm glad that Joe Rogan at least is now willing to say that he endorsed Donald Trump and he's for him. I just think as like a fan of the show, it would have been hard to watch him going forward because he talks about politics very often. If he just remained a fence sitter, I think it would have been tough. So I'm glad at least, like, even if he would have came out on the other side politically, I think it gives him still credibility moving forward, the fact that he's willing to say which candidate he's for. So anyway, I'll finish the video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.